This is a stimulus and social security update. Got some important updates to share with you. With banking industry almost on the collapse, Elizabeth Warren has a plan. I'll play a video clip of what she says about that, of how it could be fixed. $450 checks going out within just 2 weeks. I'll let you know the big politician's plan when it comes to social security and how Mitt Romney was grilling a Biden official on what to be done about social security, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a terrific Thursday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel for more daily, straight-to-the-point updates on matters that financially matter to you. So stimulus update. Rising inflation is hurting Americans, but stimulus relief is nowhere in sight. That pretty much sums it up. With inflation, although slightly going down, it is still high. And because of the jobless rate is still low and the economy is still strong, lawmakers are unlikely to issue stimulus checks anytime soon. Stimulus checks might only make the problem, may not solve the problem of inflation. So when it comes to stimulus checks, I want to tell you straight up, on a federal national level, it doesn't look like stimulus checks are happening anytime soon. We're still seeing it on a local level. Something drastic would have to happen in order for there to be federal stimulus checks. But this article right here, check please, Americans set to score one-time $450 relief payment in weeks. See who's eligible for the boost. So this is going on in the state of Maine to receive one-time payments as part of an energy relief program. $450. Those should be sent out by March 31st, which is just 2 weeks away. So if you live in Maine and you need help with your energy, so the winter energy relief payments should start hitting accounts, or they should have started hitting accounts by the end of January, and the rest of them should finish up by the end of March. Moving on to Social Security, politicians' Social Security plans need to live up to their pledges. So for politicians, there is a difference between a pledge and a plan. A pledge, like President Joe Biden and former Donald President Trump, promising never to cut Social Security benefits, doesn't carry any cost. A plan, by contrast, says what the politician is willing to give up in order to keep that pledge. Despite Biden and Trump's pledges not to cut Social Security, neither has a plan to do it. So basically, what this article is talking about is basically saying that Social Security and Medicare should not be cut. And just because politicians are saying that it shouldn't be cut doesn't mean that it is not going to be cut, because there is no plan in place. At the moment, with the debt ceiling talks, doesn't look like there's any solid ground that Social Security will be cut. But meanwhile, Romney grills Biden official about Social Security in tense exchange. So Senator Mitt Romney grilled Shalanda Young, director of the White House Office of Management and Budget, about Social Security during a hearing on Wednesday, focused on President Biden's fiscal 2024 budget. In a tense line of questioning, Romney pressed Young about whether she knew of any cuts to the program proposed by lawmakers. Biden has accused Republicans of trying to cut benefits, saying this. Mitt Romney said, "You've heard of proposals from a current senator or congressman currently proposing to cut benefits of Social Security?" Romney asked repeatedly. "Yes." "Have they changed their position?" "Maybe, but yes, members who are current," Young began, before Romney doubled down, asking if any lawmakers has proposed cuts in the last several months or the last year. Young responded that current members have well-known policies out there to cut Social Security and Medicare, to which Romney argued that is simply wrong, and it is not honest to say that to members of Congress. That is simply wrong. So Romney then asked Young if she recognized that the program's trust fund is protected to run out in roughly the next decade, noting estimates that benefits would be cut dramatically, like 25%. According to a report released by the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, last month, Social Security's funds are projected to run a shortfall in 2032. So, yeah, basically, she says, "I'm aware." And then Romney says, "Well, why is it that the president's budget In the president's budget, there's no effort to address that whatsoever. And then she says, while we clearly disagree on this, there are some who have policies on websites. I'm happy to print them and send them to the committee. Whether they have changed our position is another thing, who want to cut. All right, so basically this conversation going back and forth, Mitt Romney trying to pin down whether or not a Republican is trying to cut Social Security, which, to be fair, isn't really true. There's no plan to actually cut Social Security. The closest thing was Rick Scott saying that it was going to sunset, which means that all federal programs would be under subject of review, which could potentially make changes to it, not actually cut it. So when it comes to cutting Social Security, still, there is no evidence of it, although some Republicans have said it in the past. There's no actual plans or legislation for it. Moving on, Elizabeth Warren says $250,000 cap in deposit insurance for banks should be re-examined. So Senator Elizabeth Warren on Wednesday said a $250,000 cap on deposit insurance should be re-examined to better suit small businesses and nonprofit organizations, saying, I think that we should re-examine just overall about why we have limits at $250,000 protection. Elizabeth Warren comes out with a new plan, and she is not too happy about the few banks that have collapsed already, maybe more on the way. Is this a domino effect of more of the banking industry to collapse? Take a look at what she has to say here.
So this regulation you've proposed, do you think it has any chance of actually passing?
I do. If Congress can't respond at a time of crisis like this, when we can say, we tried deregulating in this area and the consequence is that at least 2 banks have blown up, this is a time we can go back, we can fix that, and we can say we just need tougher, steadier regulations here.
But some of your colleagues have said it's mismanagement on a couple banks' parts.
Look, that isn't what matters. What matters is that if there'd been appropriate regulation, that mismanagement would have been caught before it blew those banks up and before the government was forced to intervene and back up all of the depositors. The government shouldn't be put in that position because we need tough regulations to keep that problem from ever occurring.
Can I ask about Credit Suisse as well? It's already considered one of the too big to fail size banks. So, what's the problem there?
Look, we have a problem throughout our banking system with too big to fail. The problem that we've seen most recently is that we're reaping the consequences of lighter regulation. When Chair Powell started leading the deregulatory movement in the Federal Reserve and getting the regulators to lighten up, the consequence is problems get missed. The oversight becomes lighter. The stress tests during Powell's term have become easier. They've become less frequent. And that means that problems that bubble up, problems because the executives want to boost those profits, and the best way to boost those profits, take on a little more risk and a little more risk, that those problems don't get tamped out early.
Is that why you've asked Chair Powell to recuse himself from this review?
Yes. For this review to have any credibility at all, Chair Powell has to recuse himself. He is the one who not only presided over the Fed, who not only came to Congress and answered questions from me and from others about this deregulatory move, but actually led it. And it's important that while we're examining what went wrong, that Chair Powell take a step back and let Michael Barr, who is the new vice chair, who was not there during all of this, let him conduct an independent investigation. That's the only way we can have some confidence in it.
Senator, what's your message to the over a dozen members of your own party, some of whom are still in office, who voted in 2018 to roll back to soften some of these bank regulations?
We need to learn from what has just happened with these banks and go forward by tightening the regulations. It's just that simple. When we roll back regulations so that bank executives can use these banks to boost their profits, to boost their own salaries, to get big bonuses, they are doing it by taking on more risk. Banking should be boring, and we have a chance here in Congress to make banking more boring again. We should take it now.
Do you consider what the administration did to be a bailout for the Signature Bank and SVB?
You know, the administration is in a really tough spot because of the failure of the regulators and failure of oversight. I think they did the right thing by saying that these small businesses, these nonprofits, who don't evaluate the quality of a bank. They put their money in the bank and they expect it to be there when they're trying to make payroll or pay the utility bills. I think that the government was right to step in. Now, as for the really big depositors, the ones who put in $1 billion, they're not like ordinary depositors. They're much more like investors. And I think they should have been treated differently.
But I guess.
What are your thoughts on that and her banking issues? Let me know down in the comments below. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi, my name is Bella, and this is the tip of the day. Do you know what you should always know to do? Even though if you can't go travel or anything, you could always try to find something they could do in the area that you're at, or maybe you could probably go visit another state if you like to have a car or so, and you could go to different places, but it doesn't always have to be traveling to different like countries and stuff. But oh my god, but whatever makes you happy, just do it. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your support. If you like how I got straight to the point, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to check out any more videos about this topic or others, click right up here. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.